All right, so today is going to be part one of something I'm going to be calling Project Rider, and it's basically um, me reinterpreting Shotaro Ishinomori's Kamen Rider, the original, but with a female lead instead of a male lead. One of the problems with Kamen Rider, I find, I love the series, I love the show, I love a lot of them. Some of them I'm not so much a fan of, fucking Deno. But one of the problems I find is that even though we have a lot of strong heroic male characters, and we do have some secondary female characters who are essential to the plot, we've never had a female writer as the lead. So I kind of wanted to try my hand at redesigning the series from the ground up from the beginning. So this is going to be a series of things where I come up with some sketches and concept designs, some more refined paintings and illustrations, and then possibly 3D models, and then maybe some 3D prints. So this is going to be a long series. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get or how often I'll update it, but it's sort of a chance for me to focus my energies when it comes time to learning new techniques and practicing new methods and trying to improve my work, because you know, sometimes if your head's down and you're just doing comics all the time, you don't really get a chance to stretch out and do new things. So this is sort of my opportunity to kind of stretch out and try new processes and see how they work and see how I can apply them to my regular work. So I'm starting in Sketchbook Pro. I find that Sketchbook Pro is great for quick concepts and just banging stuff out very quickly. The interface is easy to get around. I don't have to muddle with too many things. There's everything I need is right here on the interface. You know, this isn't going to be a straight tutorial. I'm not going to go through and like, this is what the pencil does, this is what the airbrush does. But if you can follow along, you can pretty much figure out what I'm doing. So I am starting with the helmet design. Now, this is not ideal when you're coming up with a character. Typically, you want to focus on the entire silhouette of your character, not just one part. Like you never want to start off with the chest armor or just like a gauntlet or something like that. But for me, the personality of the rider comes from the helmet design. And so that's where I'm going to be focusing my energies today. I'm just going to generate 3 basic concept sketches to work off of, and then maybe refine them or scuttle them all together. But this is a process I'm starting to mess with and try to figure out. I've done this a couple of times before, so you'll get to see me screw around with this. So to start off, I'm just going to come up with a generic head shape that I can base all my concepting over. And this is just, you know, basic head planes. There's your ear and stuff. And there you go. And then make this a little bit lighter. Okay, so one of the things I really like about Sketchbook Pro is they have this Copic color picker right here, and these are all related to the real world Copic markers. So this gives you a lot of choices. When I'm doing something quick like this, I don't necessarily care about figuring out what colors to use. I just want something I can pick quickly. If I'm painting normally, I'll use a color wheel like this and, you know, pick colors this way. But, you know, if I'm just doing something quick and dirty and grayscale, you know, this color palette here gives me everything I need. So it's not too fancy, nothing too crazy. Actually, we'll go with this gray so I can get all of the grays. All of the grays. Nah, screw it. We'll just keep it here. Also, they have a whole selection of Copic marker brushes here. So I'm just going to start with this big ass marker and just get like some ideas down. So the idea here is to just kind of get some forms down, get some general silhouettes of things that I think look cool, and then to refine them later, carve them out basically with some line art. I'm not too worried about getting into the details, just general shapes of stuff that could be cool for a helmet. Now, I guess if I was trying to do this for a job, I would spend some time looking at references and collecting bug references, because Kamen Rider is based on the originals were based on insects and things like that. And I still want to keep some semblance of the original spirit, where it's, you know, person in a bug suit. But I kind of don't want to be holding myself to any specific insect. So I want to give the impression of a bug instead of, you know, holding myself to, like, this is a rhinoceros beetle and you can tell by this, that, and the other thing. I just kind of want to give you the impression that this is a bug person in a bug suit. So I just have 3 basic silhouettes that I can just start carving with. And I'm gonna start with a slightly darker color and go right in with the pencil brush here, and just start working on some of these forms and start cutting them out. But yeah, I'm trying to establish some planes in this design, just following along what I've got here, and carve some of these details out. This doesn't look very bug-like, so maybe put in some mandible action here. I also don't want to lean heavily on older or other rider designs, and I actually don't need too many references for those because I watch the show all the time. So the trick is to kind of do these without getting bogged down by what's happened in the past, because I kind of want to give this a unique look that it's not necessarily recognizable as Kamen Rider, but sort of its own thing. Let's go with the next one, see what we got there. So there's a lot of personality in the eyes, even with the helmet design. So I'm gonna spend a lot of time coming up with eye shapes that I think work well. Maybe this guy has some horns. So if you are unfamiliar with Kamen Rider, essentially it's a series about our hero is a human, at least from the original series, who gets kidnapped by the evil organization Shocker, and they're trying to create an army of super soldiers. And right before our hero gets brainwashed, so they do the full body conversion, so he's a cyborg. But before they finish the brainwashing, he escapes and becomes their #1 enemy. So for this reimagining, I want to kind of stick with that same idea that our hero gets kidnapped and she gets turned into a cyborg. So what would 1973 cyborg had a very specific look. What would a cyborg look like from 2014? So that's kind of what I'm going with my reboot. Reboot. I friggin' hate that word, but screw it. So the marker tone sketches give me a good base to kind of build things off of. I'm not following him too much. The other problem, the other thing I'm trying to avoid is too much Iron Man. in the design. Adi Granov's design for Iron Man that's been used in the movies and pretty much everything Iron Man now, I think it's genius. And I really hope that, and I know this isn't what's happening, but I hope that Adi is getting mad royalties anytime someone uses his design. But it's been so influential on sort of helmet creation these days that it's like, oh, anytime you see a helmet on a futuristic soldier, it kind of looks like an iteration of an Iron Man suit, something that Tony Stark could have come up with. So, and as I'm saying that, this one is looking way too Iron Man-y. So let's go back to... let's go back to this guy. Some mandible action here. Whoop. Hit the wrong thing. I like this form, this sort of beak form here. It's kind of cool. Not sure it reads right just yet. Now, the Japanese tokusatsu heroes tend to have big round eyes. So the original Kamen Rider's design had these huge round eyes. And I kind of want to avoid that. Go for more tactical look. Which is why I have these angular shapes here. And maybe put in some shadow to this. That kind of looks like a gaping mouth. Not necessarily what I'm going for, but let's see what else these guys are doing here. Don't like the horns. That's just not what you want. Maybe beef up this shape here. I like this kind of thing going on. That's starting to shape into something here. So when I'm doing these sketchy things, I'm just trying to define some planes, and since it's a helmet design, it's nothing but, you know, planes and curves and things like that. So I'm trying to concentrate on the different shapes and stuff, and then I'll pull that out when it comes time to render it fully. But I don't think I'm gonna get there for this step. I just kind of want to just get some ideas that I can play with and maybe refine it some more and come back to it a little bit later. So I don't know if this is looking like a bug enough. Something interesting going on there. Let's go to this last guy. I don't like the line art, so I'll just delete that. And we'll start over again. This is more of a beak shape. Oh, there we go. Something cool. Something cool is emerging. And you're thinking, oh, that's not cool. That just looks like a bunch of chicken scratch. Well, I'm sorry. It actually does look like a bunch of chicken scratch. Something's happening. Something interesting is happening here. Let's see here. I'll come back to that one. Let's go back down to this one. Oh, so I've got my my value sketch on a layer underneath the line sketch, just to separate things, and just in case I want to get rid of the line art and redo things or get rid of something. So when I used to be a colorist back in the day, layer management was a big problem because you know, machines you had to be careful how big your files were. That's not such a problem these days. You know, memory is cheap as shit, and you know, computers are getting just more powerful. So I'm quite thankful to be doing digital work in a modern age now, where you don't have to worry so much about layer management. But you know, you used to. So I have a tendency to flatten my layers as much as possible. Like when I start to like something, I'll flatten all the layers down. And you know, in some sense, it's good because, you know, when I open up a file, I don't have to hunt around to find the layer that I want to work on. I can just work on the whole piece as a whole. So that's kind of nice. But you know, if you're, and especially if I'm working for myself, then I you know, making a change isn't a crazy deal. But you know, sometimes if you're working for a client, you want to have as many layers and options as possible, because you know, who the hell knows how often they're going to change their mind. And hopefully you have some sort of iteration clause built into your contract, so each time they send you an iteration, you get paid for that. But you know, the more layers you have for something like concept design, the better it is for you if you're working for a client. If you're working for yourself, like I'm working for me, right, for this thing, it doesn't matter so much. But so I don't know, I kind of like this. I'm not sure what's going on in here though. So maybe, oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll just make this like a muzzle or something, with a minus mold. This is starting to get away from a bug look, but I don't know, there's something demonic and cool about it. I might go back and just whatever. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this guy. Or I should say this girl, since we're working on a female interpretation of Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider. So I like this shape, the way this curves around into this. That's pretty cool. Not sure what to do with it though. I like the flow of it. It looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll turn it into like a thing, I don't know, man. So many decisions. Let's see what's going on with this guy. Oh, it sort of looks like a stormtrooper. That's not what we want at all. This process is more about just coming up with shapes and working with silhouettes and things like that instead of I'm getting bogged down in fine details, but the idea is to just come up with something that you like and that you can work off and you can refine later, not necessarily a finalized form. I'm getting a little bogged down in some of the detailing and spending less time coming up with good shapes. So I'm going back in with my markers and just darkening up some of these edges to better define the planes of the helmets. And I'll use the airbrush for that. Some of that here, some of that here, maybe get some of that in here. Let's clean that up. Let's go darker. Darken the eyes. I find that when you're working by yourself and no one's around, humming is a good way to keep your sanity. Still kind of looking like a stormtrooper. Let's go back down here. More with the airbrush. And let's go in with a lighter color just to pull out some of the highlight. Like retain that line. Highlight there, highlight there, highlight this piece. Oh, my phone's ringing. These highlights just help me see where the forms are and all that kind of stuff. So they help define the panel lines a little bit better too. Separation between the surfaces. All right, I think let's merge this down and let's zoom out a little bit so we can put our helmet designs side by side. Merge down. Let's move you here. Merge down. Move you over here. Okay, so there are, I think there's enough here that I can pull different parts of each design and then come up with a more refined final design for the look. But there's parts of each that I really don't like, and there's parts of each of these that I really do like. So I guess in the next one we'll combine some of these ideas. I might spend some time and generate a couple more helmet ideas. Just to toss them in the mix. I don't see bug in any of these actually, so I might go back and spend some time looking at references and do some more buggy stuff. But this is sort of just an idea to give you a technique that you can use to generate looks for things. It doesn't have to be helmets, it could be character faces or busts or whatever it is, but this is a quick way to come up with multiple iterations of a thing. So I hope this was somewhat helpful for you, and join me again next time when we continue to refine the look of our project Rider. All right, thank you.